you starting?
Okay, let me start. So the project is called Crypto Patronage. It's a project that Joshua and I work for over a year now, and
That's hard.
now I asked him a lot of technical problems. So it's kind of finished now, and we can just present it to everyone. And it's pretty much live now. Okay. Okay. Why this exists?
Yeah. So back in early 2022, me and a group of friends, some of which are in the room, were running what you could kind of describe as like a DAO. Just not using any smart contracts or anything, just using like some tools that were available on the Kusama blockchain and the Polkadot ecosystem in general. And we put together this thing that kind of like helped us distribute resources amongst each other and to projects we like people and projects that we wanted to support. I'm saying we a lot, but it was like a very small group of us that didn't have to go through as much bureaucracy and process as like getting public funding from the grants bodies and the treasuries in our ecosystem. So that was the Shokunin network. And basically what we did is we took those processes and we decided, hey, why is there only one Shokunin network? Why don't we like let anybody make their own little network of people supporting each other or them? And that's what ended up turning into the Crypto Patronage platform. And ultimately, the motivation for that is like actually getting funding to people who need funding and who wouldn't make sense to get like public funding. Like if you're a creator in like a small town or something, you're not gonna get treasury funding from the Web3 Foundation or the Kusama blockchain or Polkadot blockchain. So get your friends to support you, and that's the motivation basically.
Okay. So I'd like to kind of introduce it as it's a Web3 version, Patreon, but this page is from Patreon. It's not our platform. So Patreon is a platform for creators to create membership that allows supporters to support them through their kind of payment system. So this is their page. So you can see there are various of creators on that platform, and they have different tier of subscription. So maybe from $5 to $20 a month. Yeah, so ours can be. We don't have tier right now, but yeah, we have something similar.
People have come up with workarounds.
Yeah. Okay. So
Basically, the whole flow that we inherited from Shokunin is that like you have the mechanisms that you have on chain to actually allow like patronage is like you can provide permission to another account to perform certain actions via your account, and you can create an account derived from your account that only your account can control, or accounts that you give permission to can control. So we use both of those tools. We let supporters create a peer proxy, that's the account. earmark funds to support a specific creator in that pure proxy, and then give that creator permission to withdraw funds from that pure proxy, which there's basically a social contract that they do over a fixed period of time. So the end result of that is something like what Patreon has, where you have a monthly subscription and the creator gets paid out every month a fixed amount.
Okay. So this is the current app infrastructure that we choose. It grows over time. At first, we don't want to use the centralized database or the cron job because we want to do everything on blockchain before. But then this is a compromise way of us doing it, and it's kind of work now. So the dApp for users to be able to use, first you have to have one of the extensions that we support, which is Talisman or Polkadot
Polkadot.js.
JS, or the other one is Sub Wallet. So when you have one of these wallet, you can interact with our interface. And we have the cron job is for the payment system part, and we will mention it later. So as for why we're using centralized database is because we have off-chain creators, and the reason for that is because it's, for me, it's at first it's a little bit for me to introduce to my friends to use it because it's so expensive compared to Web 2. Like you create, because we have to create pure proxy and set up identity on chain. It's almost $30 on Kusama, and it's how much on Polkadot?
I mean, it was like hundreds of dollars on Polkadot.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Because it's not like a fee, it's a deposit. But like as a user, you don't care if it's a fee or a deposit. You have to
Also,
have.
you would get it back, but the identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's upfront payment, that's quite an investment having. Yeah.
Which is why Nora came up with the idea to have the off-chain creators, and we store the information they'd need to get paid in the database instead of on-chain, but still use the same infrastructure.
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense.
Because it's for people from Web 2, they don't really, it's just too expensive for them to just initial account because it's free on Web 2, and they don't know why it requires so much money to just create an account. Yeah, so that's why we have a centralized database. Yeah. So for the technological overview, we heavily use Polkadot JS, Polkadot API, because we, at first, we want to just use all the functions from here. But then we add centralized database. So these are get proxies because we are using proxies for transactions, and anonymous proxy get balance because we have to know current price that the account have, and get identity, batch codes, so that people don't need to sign up so many times, that we can just batch.
We know this project is old because create an anonymous proxy is now called create pure proxy.
Yeah, it's now create pure proxy now. Yes. Okay. And then also dApp extension for access to the web injected Web3 object for access the user's account information. Okay, and this is an extra that we have. Do you want to explain this?
Should I explain it?
I think because this is like a latest feature?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, one of the core features of the platform is like creators don't just sit there and get funding, they can also post content. So we wanted to have that content be encrypted, and if you are a supporter, you automatically get permission to view that content. So each supporter registers a pub key. Yeah, they register a pub key, which we store in the back end. And then when creators create content, they can post links, which get encrypted with the pub keys of each of their supporters. So we're doing this in like a very old-fashioned brute forcey way, but it works.
Yeah.
And it lets creators have like revocable. I mean, you can't revoke access to content that you've already released to a supporter, but you can stop providing a supporter with access to future content after they stop supporting you. But yeah, we just used a separate key pair that we generate in the browser to encrypt and decrypt that information.
Yeah, then for also for off-chain creators, off-chain supporters, they also have the public key to sign the for backend security stuff.
Right. Yeah. You got that in? But yeah, the idea is that we don't have traditional user authentication. So instead of that, we use pub keys to sign requests to the backend to ensure that like a user is actually a user and we're not just being spammed by someone.
Yeah, because for traditional login, they have this auth verification that to make sure you are the user, so you can modify your own file. But then with ours, we don't have that centralized login system. Yeah, so this is the other way around. Okay, so we have basically main three parts in this application: creator, supporter, and payment system. So creator can add rate, which means they can define how much they want to charge per month. And also it can be in USD, so that when the coin of the Polkadot or Kusama, the volatile too much, then so users may not be able to pay that much. And they can add image, add on-chain identity. Also, they can pull payment, committed, uncommitted. Can you explain committed and uncommitted?
Yeah. So as we showed earlier, you can have a pure proxy between your account and the creator you're supporting. And the reason we do that is like to let you earmark funds for a creator. But you can choose not to have a peer proxy. We generally don't recommend that, which means that like a creator just pulls funds from the account you're using. Again, like that's not something we would recommend. And we have to have separate logic for both of those cases.
Yeah. And then for delay?
Right, and basically when we were doing Shokunin, the security mechanism was basically that instead of getting permission, like doing a vote every time you made a decision, we would put in an action that couldn't be executed until after a delay. And then after that delay passed, you can execute that action. And that's part of what we use the versatile cron job for. And we're doing the same thing here where like you can choose to have a delay on payments that a creator is withdrawing from your account. And when you have that delay, like if you want to revoke that creator's access to your funds, then you just within that delay period cancel your subscription, and it's a layer of security in case like they're trying to do something that goes against the social contract of like only take a certain amount of funds from your account.
Okay, so creators can also browse their supporter list, committed and committed, and they can publish their encrypted content links. So it's like this, that they can, if you have this private key in your local storage, you can see it's decrypted. And the first one is because that the user lost the first pair of keys, so the user generated again. So, but we have a functionality that can store everything later, that it's not implemented yet. So basically, if you don't have the key pair in your local storage, you cannot decrypt the link. So it's like this, the first one, that, and then the 3 others are decrypted. For supporter, they can subscribe, unsubscribe, and browse. So it would be like this, that it kind of looks like YouTube, that if you subscribe to a channel, it appears to the left bar part that is in your subscription part here. Okay, I will demo later. Okay, so for payment system is what we mentioned before, that it's going to be triggered by cron job every month in fifths. You'll do this automatically transaction. So it doesn't really have the security issue because the key, can you explain this part? That, because we hold the key, that for transaction, but.
Well, you're explaining, but like, yeah, we don't take payments to a central source. So when a creator opts in to use the payment system, that means they get automated payments. In exchange, maybe there's a service fee or something, but like the idea is we don't take payments to a central payment processor and then disperse them out to your creators, but rather the payment service is only used to execute the payment that sends the funds from the creator directly, from the supporters directly to the creator, and it doesn't actually hold any funds itself.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do the demo. Cast.
Your screen is.
Can I change the tab? No.
I think you have to uncast the previous tab or
Okay.
something.
Okay. Stop. Cast.
Cool.
Okay, so that's our platform right now. We have everyone on it.
A total of 7 creators.
Yeah.
Two of multiple of which are the same person.
Okay, so I'm going to create one more here. Let's hope not. Let's hope everything goes smoothly. Let me check if I have found here.
Live demos are the best.
Yep.
So what's not being casted is the wallet
Oh.
extension.
Right, I cannot see.
Well, that's good because
But then, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to create one more creator here. Let's see, 14. Let me check if I have found in
And you
this.
could cast all test servers, that's important.
I mean, it's
It's a pop-up.
yeah, it's a pop-up.
Yeah, it's a pop-up.
Not our pop-up. It's a part of the
The
extension.
wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Did I make a wizard? Wingo also?
No, because this is the test
This
chain.
is test chain. I did. I did
I
the
love it.
test.
We're even on there twice. That's even better. More opportunity to get money.
We need supporters.
Lots of test chain tokens you can get.
Oh, nice.
All right, maybe I should just okay. I will create one on Kusama.
What's as a newbie? What's the difference between the different chains there?
Can you repeat the question?
As somebody who's not been involved in Polkadot very much, what's the difference between the chains there? Like, why would I choose Kusama over another one? Or
Yeah. So the primary chain that like most people would use is Polkadot. There was just a bug with Polkadot that meant that we were developing primarily on Kusama. Polkadot is like higher value, transaction fees are higher. Kusama transaction fees are lower. Also, there is like a pedigree of art, culture, and creators building on Kusama and not Polkadot.
okay,
Rococo is a test chain, and West End is a test chain. You can get test tokens for free. It's a little involved. You have to go to like chat rooms and like ask people directly and stuff. But like, if you want to mess around, there are ways to do that as well.
okay, it's cool. Different cultures.
So, okay, I'm going to create a new creator here on Kusama. Just let it be like this on Kusama. Third mirrors.
But now it's on Kusama.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Should call
Upload.
BACC 2024. Let's pay for the fees of the next BNB.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, maybe next year you
Next year we should
turns
try.
out you
Oh
have a
yeah,
few
we could
thousand.
apply for the next code camp actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's upload. Okay. Okay, so it's this account that first time creates a creator. There will be a pop-up to this explain how to choose if you want to be on-chain or off-chain. So there are some benefits. Obviously, if you are on-chain, other applications can use your data too. But if it's off-chain, it only exists in our application. And it's free if you choose off-chain. Okay, so let's do the off-chain stuff here because it's Kusama. Okay. What happened? Okay. All right. Okay, it's created. Let's go back to Explore.
Drum roll.
It's never.
Connecting to the blockchain. So this is now writing to the chain.
Oh, it's already written to the chain, and
All right, it's there.
or not the chain, but the back end.
All right. Okay. So let's go back to. Let me stop casting now. Go back to localhost. Okay. Yeah.
just like showing that it exists in a different tab.
Okay, so when you click on one of these creators, we change it a bit because this is more like a Web 2 experience. When you click on creators, you can actually go into their page like this. But before, we didn't do this because we don't want the creators to handle the contents in our web, in our application. But then people still expect that when they click into this, they have something to see. So let me go to Rococo. And then you can see this is for demo purpose that we have content link here that so when they click on the creator's card, they can actually see they have this content that's already created. Okay, I think I will just demo create, but so if I change the account, I can see the unsubscribe and subscribe button. That so we can subscribe the creators through the creators page here. Okay. So this is the my subscription session that I mentioned. That they can just click on this and go to their subscribers. And this is our link. We have GitHub and Twitter goes to Shokunin. So we actually have one more functionality here is, let me check if it still works. Okay, so then do you want to explain why we have this?
Yeah, well, Patreon historically has been used a lot for a lot of adult content. Obviously, there's like OnlyFans and stuff like that now. We just thought that like, hey, crypto, probably a good idea to give people the option to have a space dedicated to that kind of stuff as well. Because like crypto and sex work are pretty intrinsically tied together. Of course, we don't really have any creators using this feature.
I can do it if you want.
But yeah, we decided that like, hey, the user decides or the creator decides what to label their content as. And then the user can choose which version of the website to use to see the creators that they want to see. We might need to add more robust moderation mechanisms in the future, but like right now, this is our version of moderation.
Yeah.
Self-moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna go to the like you're gonna go to the adult section to find adult content, right? And you're not gonna be successful if you put your adult content on the non-adult section.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let me switch, see if it still works. No, it still works.
Sensitive content.
Yep. That's that's the sensitive content. And at first, I just discussed this with Joshua. So for pretty like few weeks probably, because he insists to make everything blurry. And then when I feel it's so. This is my opinion. When people, if they enter a website and everything is blurry, then even if that's not sensitive content, or it looks suspicious.
Sensitive.
Right, but back then we didn't have two sections, right? We had a switch and it just like unblurred everything.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Okay. So let's go back. All right. Yeah. That's basically it. Links. We have 3 repositories for this project, and it's online. So.
It's not showing yet.
Oh. Let me. Does it has to be this complicated? Podcast again. Okay. All right. So we have 3 repository links for this project: front end, back end, and cron job. And then it's online. So the last link is the link for it. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Questions?
Questions? I have one. So, no, but you guys have a little bit of expenses given. What's the fees as a creator? Like, well, how much do I, as a creator, pay to the platform? Like, what's the platform fee, or how is it modeled?
So if you're not using the payment service, so if you're not automating your payments, there is no platform fee. There's a small transaction fee whenever you take payments, and it's nothing like the deposits for it's like cents. So like if you're patient, it's very negligible. If you're using the payment service, we haven't determined the fee yet. We haven't implemented the fee. So for all intents and purposes, there are none, but you shouldn't take that for granted.
Okay, thanks.
There was a part where I think you could do a cron job for payments, which is maybe the payment service you mentioned. How does this work? How does this work? Because I'm quite curious.
Yeah, so every creator registers their rate on blockchain. That rate is like how much you get per month from each supporter. When a creator creates their profile, they determine if they want to use the payment service or if they want to not use the payment service. If they want to use the payment service, we register their account as using a payment service, and when supporters support them, they give permission to the payment service, not the creator's account, to pull payments. The cron job just like runs every month and checks which accounts have given it permission to send payments, sends their payment to the creator they're supporting, and then shuts down, basically.
Just to clarify,
You can take this one.
it's a silly question probably, but where does the cron job run? Is it on the blockchain or is it on your backend?
Yeah, it's on the back end. It's
okay,
it's a
so-
Vercel cron job.
You know? This one?
Sorry.
Is this heavy? No, it's good.
Thank you. Very, very great. When I subscribe, I see the contents and I see the links, and I can share the link. I can copy paste the links with other people, and then I'm stealing the creators. Is it this true or not?
When you subscribe, you don't get in access to past links. You can copy links and you can copy content that the creator has shared with you. If they wanted, they could implement some sort of authentication based on your account information at their link. So we don't control the contents of the links. And it would be pretty trivial for a creator to request a signature from you to gain access to content inside their link. But yeah, after you stop paying, you don't lose access to the content that you've already had access to, but you don't get access to future content either.
Yes, but it's possible to protect the copy paste of the link with other people.
It's not possible to protect copy paste of the link, but it is possible for the creator to implement protection on their own using your key data, which they have.
Okay. I have another question, but if there's anyone else. You not? Oh, I have. Yeah. So, are you thinking to make it to, for instance, for two creators to share the same account because people might want to create together?
They should use a proxy account and have permission over the account that they share, and the proxy can be the creator. And I don't think we're going to implement that.
That sounds already complicated.
So I'm just a little bit confused. I'm trying to technically imagine what does it mean to execute payments when somebody subscribes. So I subscribe to be a patron, to be a sponsor. And how do you execute payment on my wallet? Like how does that work? Because it's it's probably secure and everything, but it kind of sounds weird because it feels like, oh, somebody will just be able to execute in my name. So how does this technically work? Maybe you already said, but I'm just trying to imagine how would that actually work.
Right. So if you're using the recommended way, if you're doing it the way that we recommend, which is like committed payment, you create a new account up your proxy. That account contains the funds that you're earmarking for a creator, and that the creator gets permission to execute transfers from that account. You basically grant them permission to behave as if they control the account, even though they don't have the keys to that account.
So it kind of works as some sort of a multi-sig.
Right.
But how does the cron drop then execute this? Like this is yet another service, and it's not in the hands of a creator. So
right, that's what I was explaining earlier, where when you are using the cron job or like the payment service, you don't give permission to the creator to execute. You give permission to the account that we put in the cron job. That account doesn't have doesn't take your funds. It just sends your funds to the creator. But it gets the same permission that the creator would have gotten. It's just you're deciding if you trust us more or if you trust the creator more.
So here it is like a kind of some sort of centralization in the sense that you basically allow Patronage to Patronage to be a multisig with your proxy.
Yes.
Be a multisig. Be in a multisig through the proxy, kind of.
Right.
And then Patronage is actually executing. So creators are never actually part of the proxy or have access to the proxy.
Right. They just are the recipients of the payment.
Okay, I see. Okay, sorry.
So when I make the pure proxy and I assign some funds to it to support a creator over time, and then doesn't matter if it's maybe the creator or the payment service, is there like a certain rules, let's say how much they can withdraw per month, or can they also just withdraw the entire amount at once, or I don't know, what kind of rules can you even set? Can you even add more specific rules?
So if they're using our app to execute their payments, it's really strict. It's just like how much time has passed, multiply that by the rate. And that's how much funds they're allowed to withdraw at any given point in time. if they're not using the app, yes, they could withdraw all of the funds, unless you have delays enabled.
So it's basically currently limited by the UI or UX that is not giving access to the feature, but it doesn't prevent somebody to go low level, write their own code or whatever. Or, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
That's a bad creator, right?
Yeah, then you wouldn't subscribe to them.
Fair enough. just trying to figure out if you use the same techniques in other contexts.
I think it's also a beginner question because I don't know these kind of apps. But you said the keys are stored on local storage, but you're accessing it through a browser. How does this flow work?
Could you so yes, the keys are stored in local storage, as in your browser's local storage.
Oh, okay. And then, okay.
Which means that if you change browser, you'd have to export your public key from one browser and import it in the other one.
Okay, so this was the new
Yeah.
question I had.
I have another question. So I have to trust Patronage to.
If you use the payment service, that's it.
Yes, which we do always, right? If we support, no.
No, you only use the payment service if the creator, when they were creating their profile, signed up to use the payment service.
Okay, and the other option is.
They don't use the payment service and manually pull payments.
So you can just manually execute, basically.
Yeah. And
Pull,
it'll be
that means request.
yes.
So you can, from your subscribers, you can just every month go and click and
Yeah,
ask, can you pay me,
exactly.
please? And how will they get notified?
It's not like you're asking them. You're using the permission that they granted you to pull the payments. And they know what permission to grant. They know to grant permission to the Patronage app or to you directly based on what you set as a creator when you're signing up.
Okay. And the code, okay. Now I'm just thinking, if this logic is written in the code and I want to see that it's going to actually execute how you're saying, then I want to see the code and it's open source. But this is always a tricky question with this security stuff. Is there a way to know that what you're showing me is really running?
All of the blockchain related code for the front end you can inspect is actually on the website because it's all in the front end, right? So you can just view source and check what exactly we're doing with Polkadot.js. There is more of an element of trust with the payment service because then you can't just grab our Vercel whatever and check that the cron job does what we said the cron job does. But if you don't trust that way, if you don't trust that, don't use the payment service.
I don't know if it's time already, but I'm very curious about the future of the application, how you see it, because it's beautiful anyway. But okay, you can do a lot of things with that, and so you must have some kind of dreams or plans or expectations or people you would like to associate with the application or stuff like that, and also the question about if you're going to leave it on Kusama and go, or it's going to work on Kusama and Polkadot, because you probably can.
So it already works on Kusama and Polkadot, but on Polkadot you don't have the option to, as a creator, you don't have the option to register on chain. You can only register off chain. Because there is a bug on Polkadot that has been unresolved. I personally do have a long-term dream for this project, which was that I wanted it to become a standard practice to not get funding via treasuries, but to fund projects and people and teams directly. And by demonstrating that it's viable technically, and there it can have a good UX if you put some work into the UX. I was hoping that other people would use the on-chain data that we gather, or not gather, but like use the on-chain data that people put up there to create networks of support on chain. And maybe I also have like a personal desire that like I live in a place where people can't easily participate in things like PayPal and use like AdSense or whatever to get money online. I would like to see more people not restricted by borders in participating in the online economy. I think the Patronage app is like a demonstration of the idea, basically. Do you have any dreams?
Well, I was always thinking of how to monetize it. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, the payment service.
Yeah, so we are planning on, if you register on payment service, we charge some part of the fee from it. But then I also think that can be something from Web 2. It's kind of difficulty for them to enter because it's all free on Web 2, that POL payment or...
I mean, Patreon takes like, what, 5-10%?
Really?
Yeah. That's why like I was saying like 1-2%, right?
Ah, okay. So we are actually cheaper.
It becomes more expensive when you start talking about exchanges and like getting
right.
your crypto out into cash. But as long as like we account for that and make sure that the fee we take is low, we can outcompete.
We can compete. Yes. All right.
Alex has a question there.
Actually maybe two, but maybe the first one that I wanted to ask is, because I didn't in day to day didn't use much, like maybe for building apps in the past, but like to actually use it to pay in crypto, especially subscription. Then, are there wallets who offer something like the payment service, like that I configure the wallet so the wallet would automatically check, pull, and submit those kind of pull transactions in a regular interval? It's kind of manual, but it's like my wallet does it for me.
I don't know about wallets, but I know that there are platforms or like smart contract based apps that do subscription payments. Like in Ethereum, there's Sablier. But yeah, it exists, and there's also like meta transactions, right? Where like you give permission to perform some transaction on your behalf that people use for subscription based things as well.
All right. And the second is like, are there like do you have the Crypto Patronage project as a project listed on Crypto Patronage? So that somebody could subscribe and maybe request features and stuff, or I don't know, maybe.
As Nora says, good idea, but Nora's on Crypto Patronage, I'm on Crypto Patronage.
Oh yeah, right. So it's in that way, indirectly, it's already on that. Yeah, okay, makes sense.
I saw the payment in dollars. And how is operated the system for transaction? I'm not sure if I understood it the first time. So you can pay in dollars, and then the person receives in kuzamas or receives in dollars, or?
So by payment in dollars, we are only talking about the value, right? We're not using dollars anywhere, but like we peg the value of the transaction to dollars, or the subscription to dollars, instead of to KSM. So
just goes pick it up the number
of the
account.
And you can dynamically change this. I mean,
when you pull your payment, it checks when you pull, right?
Yes.
It checks when you pull
API call
with an API call to
CoinGecko.
CoinGecko.
Yes.
One question from me, like you said that you would like to see payments to the project in the ecosystem to go through systems like this instead of treasury. What did you have in mind, like that other projects would support, like who would be the payers? Because in the treasury, the funds are coming from the transactions, from slashing and so on. What did you have in mind here?
I mean, there's plenty of things that people do for the public good that other people are willing to pay for. But like, it's not even like that complicated. Like, a lot of the things that people are going to Treasury for should be services that they're charging users for, but instead they're charging the blockchain for them, you know? They're charging the community as a whole for them. I think any like sufficiently mature blockchain community doesn't rely on a central decision mechanism to distribute resources. And that's what I mean. Like, it's not that like, yeah, sure, the source of funding will no longer be the transaction fees and slashing and everything. But if there is no actual user demand for things in the ecosystem, then the community's dead anyway. So like, what's the value of the treasury funding?
Another thing for the roadmap, I guess it's also maybe not on there, but like because you mentioned it, you're on the crypto patronage and also Nora is. So therefore, if somebody would put on a project, but it's multiple people working on it, maybe 2 or even more, could they link their projects, their accounts to the project? So somebody could maybe fund like you or maybe Nora directly. So okay. So maybe so I was wondering, like, if I donate to crypto patronage, can I see who gets support, or maybe other that you get it forwarded to your account? But it's, yeah, I don't know, something like that.
As you can see, there, like the Kusamarian, for example, has 2 different accounts that they're getting.
Different rates.
Yeah, they've set different rates to different accounts. I'd imagine right now those are 2 separate accounts. They're not connected in any way. Maybe if you wanted to, you can you can subscribe to yourself. Like, you be a creator, and then as a creator, subscribe to yourself. And like make your own tree of like payments. So it all ends up with you anyway. If I'm understanding what you were asking.
So if like if Nora would create a crypto patronage account on crypto patronage, but then she maybe, let's say, has somebody to help her with something, she could subscribe with the crypto patronage account to their accounts, or sponsor them. And then if there's funds coming into the crypto patronage account, because some people subscribe, it might get automatically forwarded to some other accounts. Something. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly haven't optimized that. Like.
Yeah, right. But like, okay, that's already interesting.
To somebody who, for example, doesn't understand what are proxies, would you make like just a short summary, yeah?
So the terminology is confusing because it's changed a lot. To put it in concrete terms, your account can give proxy permission to another account to perform certain actions on your behalf. So at the end of the transaction, it looks like you performed it, but they signed the transaction with their keys. And then the confusing part is we use the word pure proxy to refer to a separate account that you create that doesn't have any keys of its own, that your account has proxy permission on. Right? So it's like it's a new account that gave proxy permission to your account. And that's called a proxy.
New account that gave proxy permission to my account.
And it's called a pure proxy.
Okay, this means
You're that account's proxy, so you have proxy permission on that account. And it's called a pure proxy. But you're the proxy.
okay. So it's like an but how can it work as a multisig? So this proxy
Can have it can have lots of other accounts that it has proxy that it gives proxy permission to. So you have proxy permission on that account. You tell that account give proxy permission to another account.
And what is then the difference between proxy and multisig?
Multisig requires basically a vote. A proxy is permission. So you have permission. You don't vote on things.
So anyone can just execute in
Yeah.
this sense. You don't have to ask majority or any
Right.
kind of other rule.
Unless there's a delay, but like it's anybody can execute with a delay. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions, maybe? Okay. Thank you. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.